Lots going on in current VTubing news. Lots has been going on. And before we dive right in, I do want to clarify a couple of things. Number one, I'm not looking to report on the situation necessarily. I'm not looking to investigate the situation. I am interested in VTubing and content creation as a business, and I think that the unfortunate events that have taken place over this weekend kind of open up some pretty interesting discussion topics in regards to the business side of VTubing and content creation. It's something that I think we don't talk about publicly a lot of the times, but regardless though, please keep in mind this does seem to be an emerging situation. More seems to be coming out like every single day. I've tried to stay on top of the developments as much as I can, but so much of it is unsighted information. And then before that, I won't say in what industries exactly, but prior to that, I was doing pretty typical management, marketing, consultancy type stuff, which I guess naturally leads to me being interested in these kinds of discussions, because love your job, job your love. Something like that. But anyways, currently I am part of Phase Connect, which is a Canadian VTuber agency that I would like to say has been scaling pretty decently for the last 3-4 years at this point. I should say good. I should say well. I should say well so I don't get fired immediately. Obviously, we have our own pain points and issues, but those aren't really relevant to what we're talking about today, which is bankruptcy. So to start, I did a little bit of background research to better understand Novel Horizons and where the business went wrong. Did look a little deeper, and the business actually didn't file as an LLC until 2023, okay? Which is the same year that they started doing VTuber collaborations. So their first VTuber collaboration was January 3rd, 2023, I believe, with popular VTuber and artist Yo Clash. So this is the figure concept that they did and some mock-ups. After this first drop, which at the time they did a great job of showing work in progress of a figures production, which I think probably helped them to build trust within the VTuber community. But they followed this up with more VTuber collaborations for the year, including ones with Buff Pup, Zentreya, Sarue. I did pull some pictures from their Twitter as well of different mock-ups and prototypes that they did, as well as photo they posted of some of their shipments. As much as the red flags are apparent right now, there were signs of this being a legitimate business early on, right? So if this wasn't initially a scam, how and why did things go so wrong then? Like many other companies that work in VTuber merchandise, Novel Horizons worked as a pre-order model. Phase does the same thing pretty much. We do have some stuff that's in stock on our website year-round, but generally speaking, a lot of people in this industry will use pre-orders. In the most basic term, pre-selling uses money paid by customers today to cover the cost of manufacturing and merchandise at a later date. It's really good for cash flows, which is why a lot of startup B2C business use it, but there are certain risks as well. Your sales today have to cover a lot of future costs. And if you're not calculating your margins and budgeting correctly, there's a lot of problems that can take place. The overhead for specialty items is usually never good. It never makes that much money. When you deal with specialty products like figures, sometimes even apparel, whatever, anything that is complex to manufacture, your margins are naturally going to be thinner unless you can do high volume orders, because high volume orders will bring costs down. How the business is doing internally aside, there's also some things that are really hard to account for, and these are global factors. We often use PES to evaluate this. PES stands for political, economic, social, and technological factors that could impact a business. As a very personal example, I guess, I work for Phase Connect, and we've been dealing with border issues for the better part of a year now since we are a Canadian company, okay? So when tariffs were implemented, every order that was purchased from us and not yet fulfilled before the implementation retroactively had the tariff imposed, okay? So if a tariff isn't paid on these orders that were already made, they are never making it to the customer. Now, some viewers are gonna get mad because they're still waiting on their pre-orders, but we genuinely want you guys to get your items, okay? I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, want all Phase fans to get their merchandise. It is also bad for the company to hold on to too much inventory, okay? So, we, the agency, not me personally, okay, paid for additional tariffs for all orders, those in order to ship them out. I don't have exact figures. I don't think I'd be allowed to share them anyways, but it was a pretty significant cut of profits for all these orders, which we already charged our customer for, so it's not like we can charge you more. The point is, shipping costs work very similar to these foreign tariffs, and I can promise you that they've skyrocketed over the last year to year and a half for just about everybody, and a lot of businesses were not ready to deal with that, okay? But my figures were like $300, and my Oshi is incredibly popular, beautiful, and sweet, and perfect, and nothing she does is ever wrong. Shipping and tariffs can't be that bad. Where's my money? Okay, yeah, I agree. Your Oshi is perfect, popular, beautiful, and better than me in every single way. Please don't kill me. Fun fact about myself. Before I debuted in Phase Connect, I used to do staff work for Vtubers. One of the things that I really enjoyed doing was merchandise. So I've actually done costing for figures myself. We did not go forward with this project. Why? Figures cost a lot of money, especially if you want to do it well. This initial investment example for one figure, one sample, is from 2022 or 2023. This is a sample without any logistics factored into it. So keep in mind, global factors and inflation, it has gone up significantly, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on it, but I would take a stab in the dark and say it costs a lot more. Are they cheaper now with the rise of 3D printers? Do you want something good? Or do you want something mass-produced like that? Then you add in things like payroll, the rent for a warehouse, damaged shipments, advertising, taxes, platform fees. Yeah, it all really adds up, right? And then you get to the big one. The big one, debt. Debt is a killer, and pretty obviously the primary pain point that has led them to bankruptcy. You declare bankruptcy when this 4-letter word gets so big you cannot breathe. And now you're probably saying, just don't spend money, stupid. Don't go into debt, right? Harder than you think. It takes money to make money. Some of you are probably thinking, okay, so why did they bite off more than that they can chew? Why take on debt in the first place? That is a great question, and I think a very valid one, okay? If you are in business, the goal of running a business is money. And to do this, a business needs to grow and scale. And to scale a business is actually very difficult, especially when you consider global factors as well. To properly scale a business, you are trying to increase revenue and output while keeping your operating costs the same or growing at a much slower rate. There is definitely revenue coming in. The company might have looked profitable on paper, but there are certain things that take real cash, real money. Revenue does not equal profit, which does not equal cash flow, okay? So you need money to keep the business running, right? And if your sales have declined substantially, like Novel Horizon has said, that means you're not getting in as much cash, and then turns out your manufacturing and logistics costs have gone up, but the price of your items have largely stayed the same because you did pre-orders for them a year or a year and a half ago, and you can't just send an email to all your customers asking for another $100, because who the fuck is gonna send you $100 for a product that doesn't even exist yet when they've already paid you maybe $200-300 for it on top, right? If they're successful in closing these priority accounts, fulfilling these orders, they can start getting more collaborations, and they can potentially increase their declining sales. They can then improve their cash flow, pay down their debts, and keep the business running. However, that's scenario 1, and we are in scenario 2, which starts with all the same steps as scenario 1. You're gonna do the exact same thing, right? You're gonna try to you're gonna take on debt, you're gonna try to pay off priority accounts, you're going to fulfill orders, you're gonna ask for more collaborations. But let's say you make less sales than projected. Cash flow problems will then persist. If all paths lead to bankruptcy at this point, I think the typical mindset towards it, or the typical mentality, is very go big or go home. So if you are without a healthy cash flow, what you are going to face next is a significant challenge to your business survivability. Profitability will tell you performance, cash flow will tell you if you can survive.